Welcome back to the Boogie Mansion, and I have a question to ask you. Do you love toy commercials? The commercials that I would catch on TV as a kid would pull me into their world with cool visuals and jingles that would get stuck in my head for days. They made me all the more excited to go out and make my parents spend their hard-earned money on plastic. But there's one commercial in particular that I remember seeing as a kid, and I think it's one you might all remember too. Monster High's commercials were a key part of the brand's success in the early 2010s. They were very distinct, with a darker aesthetic contrary to what was popular for doll brands at the time. Not only would the commercials showcase freaky fab new outfits for our beloved ghouls, but they would also feature some sick editing and music to boot. But not all commercials are created equal, and today, I'd like to rank them all from worst to best. Let's establish some ground rules. Number 1. The commercials I'll be featuring in this tier list are from the very first commercial in 2010 to the Skulltimate Secrets 5 commercial in 2025, as that's the most recent one at the time of writing this script. Number 2. Most commercials will be grouped together by the line they are advertising. For example, there were 3 Freak du Chic commercials made for American audiences, and they are all on here as one entry. If there are variants of commercials in which the differences are large enough to be noteworthy, then they will be separated. Number 3. To avoid redundancy, most non-English versions of commercials will be grouped together with their English counterparts, unless the changes are noteworthy. And number 4. This list is almost entirely vibes-based. Commercials are a pretty subjective medium to judge in terms of taste, and I welcome you all to share your thoughts on which commercials you like and dislike in the comments. With all that being said, let's hop to the ranking.
You should totally like and subscribe and stuff.
So to preface, these lower ranks will feature some commercials which I don't have a lot to say about. Some of them are bad in ways that are interesting enough to dissect, but others I'm just entirely apathetic to. So if it seems like I didn't care for the lower part of this list, well, you're kinda right. I think it's natural that a G2 commercial would take the bottom spot on this list, and the honor goes to Photo Booth. Not gonna sugarcoat it, this commercial is terrible. I don't think it does anything good. Visually, it looks cheap, the lighting is flat, the set looks barren, and the actual handling of the dolls is subdued to a fault. The sound is just as bad as the visuals. The narrator they got here sounds entirely unenthusiastic about what she's advertising.
At the photo booth, you can slide in your smartphone and use photo props to take funny photos together. Now let's dance on a moving light-up dance floor.
This narrator also featured in the late stage Ever After High commercials, and she's just as bad there.
Anything, over and over again. Over and over again, over and over again.
You know those commercials you would catch as a kid when you woke up in the middle of the night? They'd be ambient and have a bit of an unsettling vibe to them. Deluxe High School 2 reminds me of that. The cinematography here isn't that great either, with not much impressive in terms of camera movements, lighting, or editing. It all feels lifeless. I think the cherry on top to this commercial is the random Alyssa Bat that's with all the other G2 characters. I think Alyssa Bat may have gotten some straggler dolls during G2, but since she was nowhere to be seen in the gen, it makes her inclusion hilarious. Like they ran out of dolls to use and were like, oh crap, bring out that purple Draculaura. I'm grouping all of the Skeletor showcase videos and the Zombie Gaga commercial in this entry. I don't think they're bad at all, but I just can't rationalize putting them any higher because they're just spinning around. Released a little before the Great Scary Reef commercial, the How Do You Boo ad was Mattel dipping their toes into the reboot waters before fully plunging into G2 territory. And I hate it. I'm super biased in saying this, but them trying to change the tagline from Freaky Just Got Fabulous to How Do You Boo was weird. The whole commercial feels weird, like it's trying as hard as possible to avoid the vibe G1 had going, and I don't like it for that. The dolls featured in this commercial aren't that bad though. I really like Frankie's look, but that's the most I'll give this commercial.
How do you boo?
I have very mixed feelings on Voltage's Hair Frankie Stein. While the visuals are pretty good for G2, the song is not so great. Of course, I'll always welcome the Fright song, but the lyrics are where this commercial loses me. I feel like songwriting 101 is that you should never rhyme a word with itself, but this commercial does that by rhyming light with light.
Color change your hair with light. Stencil designs with light.
It may be funny, but I don't think that saves Voltage's Hair Frankie from being low on my list. The last commercial to come from G2, Garden Ghouls showcases the titular line along with Teresa Thornwillow. I don't really have anything to say about this commercial. It's serviceable, but I don't really think it belongs any higher. Our first G1 commercial on this list, Mega Bloks, is a weird one. It's very hard to judge Mega Bloks in comparison to other commercials because of how out there it is for Monster High, but I think it looks fine visually. I like the little time lapse of them building the graveyard set, and the car was cool, but I think the music is really lacking here. The lyrics are pretty stilted, and the song doesn't flow very well. There's a very awkward break in the middle to show off the graveyard set's music feature, and it disrupts the whole flow of the song.
This scary cool party and much more. Light and songs, a glowing dark dance floor.
And then lyrics telling you what the Monster Moby Mobile is are crammed into the back half of the song.
Then roll with your ghouls in the Monster Movie Mobile, the movie theater on wheels. We are Monster High.
You know, honestly, I forgot about Mega Bloks until I saw this commercial. As a kid, I mainly just saw them as the not Legos toys. So that makes me wonder even more, why did Monster High collab with them? I like some of the little minifigures Monster High's made, particularly the vinyl minis, but Mega Bloks is an odd choice. Even with how weird this commercial is, I still get some ironic enjoyment out of it, which is what prevented it from being any lower. Welcome to Monster High's commercial is very different from most others on this list. It's in the style of those commercials you'd see on Disney Channel, promoting the latest DCOM or show. In that regard, I think it does a fine job, but it's not really what I look for in a Monster High commercial. I hope I'm allowed to show the footage for this one because last time I put Welcome to Monster High in a video, it got completely demonetized by Hit Entertainment. The first G3 commercial on this list, I don't think anything's wrong with the Monster Fest commercial. It's serviceable as a little advertisement, but not much else. I'm grouping all of the Skulltimate Secrets commercials into one entry because my thoughts on them are pretty much the same. They've got some cool stop motion, and it's nice to hear the Fright song again, but besides that, they don't really do anything worth noting. These commercials aren't bad, but my lack of an opinion towards them earns them a low spot on the list. I have almost nothing to say about High Voltage Frankenstein. I think it looks good and it serves its purpose, but that's it. You know, until I saw this commercial, I had never heard of these vinyl figures. I'm surprised nobody talks about them because they're really cute. The commercial for them is nice as well. I like the editing and transitions here, and the little flip from the sketches of the ghouls to their figures is great. I vibe with this commercial heavy, but I don't really see it being any higher on this list. Deluxe High School is a better variant on the G2 Deluxe High School set. It's pretty similar to its G1 counterpart, even borrowing lyrics from it, but the main difference is the use of the Fright song instead of We Are Monster High.
Secrets and surprises fill this huge high school. There's something in the lock 'cause Frankie's hideout is cool. Secrets and surprises fill this huge high school. The cafeteria is jumping. Frankie's hideout is cool.
Another instance of a G2 commercial using the Fright song, Party Hair Draculaura is another perfectly serviceable commercial. The lyrics are nothing to write home about, but it looks good. I don't know, I just miss when Draculaura was blue. Secret Creepers is a pretty solid commercial. The sets are cool, and they've really captured the under the school vibe of where the pets hang out. I also like the little shots spliced in of the ghouls with their pets. I'm pretty sure this commercial is the first time animation from the webisodes was used, so that's cool. The G3 Core Refresh commercial has some really good stop motion, and shows off the dolls well, but I'm not big on the narration.
Fantastic fashion for everyone! They're so scary cute!
Similar to the Create a Monster commercials, Inner Monster is a Create a Doll type playset that lets you pick different emotions to match your inner monster. Visually, I think this commercial is fun. The little slide outs of the doll's vectors to reveal the real thing are neat, and the set is cool. Singing pop star Ari Hauntington is pretty alright. The concert set with the stage lights and everything looks good. I like the different camera pans and rotations they do. Ari's light up features look good here as well, and the Monstars track is very welcome in my book. I don't have much to say about Deluxe High School. Visually, I think it's solid, and I like some of the shots and transitions, but I feel that the music is where the commercial is lacking. Not the background track, but rather the lyrics. Rhyming school with cool twice is like, eh. Also, the last line feels very crammed in.
Secrets and surprises fill this huge high school. There's something in the lock 'cause Frankie's hideout is cool. Draculaura's hanging out with 8 different rooms in this high school.
Haunted High School looks good, but the music just feels really generic. Although, I like how you can hear a bit of the We Are Monster High motif in the song. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but either way, that's pretty cool. The G3 commercial by Smith's Toys features some excellent stop motion and editing, but I like everything above it more. This might be the first one I catch some flack for, but just hear me out. The best way for me to describe the Ghouls Rule commercial is awkward. The cinematography is fine, but nothing stellar. The showcase poses for Claudine and Draculaura are good. Cleo's posing is pretty bad though. That dance she does. Oof. Even still, I like most of the shots, especially the close-ups, so I can't fault the commercial too much. What I will fault, however, is the music. The lyrics feel clunky and the singing of the vocalist isn't the best. She's been in other commercials and sang well there, but here isn't her best work.
See how ghouls take back their school, starring Frankie, Claudine, Draculaura, and Cleo.
Though it's not like she's being given the best material to work with. There's also the element of the masks that I think they should have woven better into the commercial. They feel very crammed into the back end, and they're a bit random.
This style is freaky fabulous. What's a cool ghouls hide behind the mask? Thought you'd never ask.
Even with all that, I still get some enjoyment out of this commercial, but not enough to put it with the big leagues of G1. Party Bus is a pretty decent commercial. Like other G2 commercials, this one uses the Fright song as its backing track, but I actually like the singing here. Even if the lyrics aren't too crazy, there are some nice harmonies the singer does that bump it up for me.
Open it up, see the girlfriends ride, pull the bumper, swivel seats inside. Pedicures here totally rule. Pop up mirror for your gorgeous do.
Like all the other Create-A Monster commercials, Create-A Monster 3 is pretty standard. Nothing groundbreaking here visually, but we still got that G1 hair flip, ayy. Also, I love the little freaky fabulous line.
Makeup. So freaky fabulous. Stop.
Similar to Ghouls Rule, Boo York is weird. There's not just one commercial though, there are 3, and I grouped them all. The first commercial primarily features Astronova and her floating gimmick, describing what she does, yada yada. The same is done for Caddy and Luna. It's not much to ride home about, but I like the background song. The second commercial saved this from being any lower. Though it's extremely short, I enjoy the little verse that Caddy and LED get.
Caddy's rockin' silvery shine, LED robot DJ so fine. We are Monster.
The third commercial does the rap verse thing again, but far worse. The lyrics are very clunky this time.
Mercedes, Boo York royalty line. Luna's wings are fluttery design.
Overall, Boo York is like, I don't know, I'm probably gonna shift around the placement of this one. Possibly one of the weirdest things G1 has done. The Frightmares were an attempt by Mattel to branch into the My Little Pony market, and the results were, well, no one talks about them, so guess. The whole premise of these toys is that each character is half centaur and another monster. For example, Airy Evanfall is half centaur and half skeleton. While I find the concept for the Frightmares interesting, these toys don't really feel like Monster High, and neither does this commercial. The song especially stands out as way too cutesy for the vibe of G1. The lyrics aren't anything to write home about either, and the song ends pretty abruptly. Even with that being said, Frightmare's commercial is a guilty pleasure for me. As the first commercial to kick off G3, Welcome to Monster High had a lot on its shoulders as the selling point of this new generation, and I think they did a solid job. This one's roll call style with the singer going through each ghoul, telling you a line or two about them. It shows off all of what G3 has to offer, from the movies, to the show, to the music videos, and the dolls. Despite that though, I'm not big on the song. It feels a bit generic compared to what we get in other commercials, but I do like that they brought back the be yourself, be unique, be a monster tagline. I grouped this together with the Coffin Bean commercial because they're pretty much the same, outside of some minor changes. Cool visuals, but the song isn't my thing. Fusion Inspired Looks is a Portuguese variant of the Freaky Fusion commercial that differs from the original in many ways. The animations of the fusions are a lot slower, and the transitions don't feel as smooth. Everything is a lot more grayed out here compared to its English counterpart, and the lighting looks a lot flatter as well. I don't know whether that's an effect of how this commercial was preserved or if it just looked like that. I manually adjusted the saturation to see how that would look, and it's a bit better, but it's still not great. You may be thinking, with all of the critiquing I just did of this commercial, that it would be way lower, and usually that'd be the case. But I can't lie, I'm so biased towards this commercial because it's the only one that prominently features the Fusion-inspired dolls, and I love them. That's the only reason why this variant is up this high. Also, I like the chants the singer does.
So, Monster Fusion! I go full
The monster ball has got some sick stop motion and visuals. I love how each character does their little dance, especially Laguna, whose moves remind me of the dance G1 Laguna did in the Wave 1 commercial. Ghoul to Bat Draculaura is cool. It was the first G2 commercial to really step up the cinematography, which is great considering how bad Photo Booth looked. I like that they have fun with the doll here. Having Drac fly in front of the moon and float around shows off the doll's gimmick well. This commercial also marks the return of the Fright song, which had largely gone unused ever since G1's theme change to We Are Monster High. The background music is great, but I don't have much to say about the lyrics, though I do like the Ghoul to Bat line. A bit of an oddball, Monster Madness was a commercial meant to promote a sales event going on at the time. To fit the March Madness parody, this commercial features a marching band variant of We Are Monster High that I absolutely love. It's not the craziest commercial ever, but I still really like it. Monster Exchange is a simple commercial, but a good one at that. The visuals are cool, and I like how it begins with the suitcase flipping open to show our ghouls going to new places, but also the ghouls we're going to meet. Good cinematography as well, and the little bits of animation from Volume 5 are cool. This commercial is narrated by my goat, Chiarazani.
Be yourself, be unique, be a monster. Dolls each sold separately.
High-key, I did not know about the frightfully tall dolls until this commercial. They look so cool, I'm surprised no one talks about them. Either way, frightfully tall dolls looks good, but there's something a bit off-putting about this commercial. Not in a bad way, I actually really like it. The narrator is very engaged, but it sounds tense at the same time, almost like it's like a warning about the dolls. And that combined with how the music is rising sort of creates an anxious feeling, if that makes sense.
Your girlfriends Frankie, Draculaura, and Claudine are now taller than ever, with extra large fashion details and more ways to post them. We are Monster High.
I don't see that as a problem, of course. I actually really like it. I grouped Create a Monster 1 and 2 into one entry because they're pretty much the same commercial. Both are simple yet effective. They've got good sets and cinematography on display, and I like the close-up shots of the characters as the light defines their faces very well. The little swap transitions between the different outfits you can choose for your monster are cool too. Without a doubt, the Skeleton Girl is my favorite. If someone made her into a full-fledged character, that would be cool. I also like the singer's voice, who kinda sounds like Kesha. Is that just me? Meet the Hybrids is cool. In terms of the visuals, I don't have much to say. I mean, they look good. Yeah, I like the shot where Bonita is flying. It's kind of funny looking, but that adds to the charm. The music is pretty solid as well. Not much worth noting in the first half, but the back half of the commercial I really like.
Are welcome.
Let's all hang out together in the catacombs. Elevator, third story, stairs to the laboratory.
Last thing I want to mention is that for some reason, Cyrena's middle name is pronounced differently between the variants of this commercial.
Serena Van Boo, part goat, part mermaid too. Serena Van Boo, part goat, part mermaid too.
Not sure why that is, but I felt like mentioning it. New Scaremester, the doll line, not the comic, is a nice little advert. It continues the trend of using the webisode animation for its scenes, and while it will never measure up to the 2D animation from the first Monster High commercials, I still think it looks good. But the real standouts here are the scenes showcasing the dolls, and they look incredible. I love the sun shining through the windows of the school, and the way everything is set up looks very crisp. Nice shot composition all around. And it's also got the goat Chiarazani.
Always be yourself. Monster High dolls each sold separately.
An interesting thing about New Scaremester is that there are two variants of the commercial. One features Katrine, Claudine, and Jennifer, while the other has Caddy, Gigi, Invisibility, and Twyla. Strangely, the latter version of those two lacks an English version. The only copies I could find of it on YouTube were in Czech, Spanish, and Turkish. It's debatable whether the English version even exists, but regardless, the second variant's visuals are just as good as the first. Look at this little smile Draculaura does. It's great. Great Scary Reef, my favorite Monster High special. Just kidding. But for real though, as much as I dislike Great Scary Reef, I think this commercial is pretty good. Visually, I think it's fine, but the music is fire. They've got the dude who sang for Pharaoh and did the song for Getting Into the Swim from Great Scary Reef to be here. I mean, how can you not love that? In terms of variants of this commercial, there are two worth noting. In the first version, Frankie has a part right before the end, but in the second version, she's replaced by Posey Reef. Yeah, that's it. I'll admit, 13 Wishes is a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. The visuals for this commercial are pretty fine. I think the lighting looks a bit flat in some shots, but it looks good in the close-ups. Like the visuals, the music is also alright. The first half is mostly whatever, but the Haunt the Casbah portion, man, I love it. Haunt the Party, that's a scream, followed by an actual scream, I mean like,
Haunt the party, that's a scream. Jam to the ghoulish tunes, plug in your music too. Say Frankie!
is such a funny commercial. From the beginning, it goes off the wall with the
Say Frankie!
and Frankie collapsing on the ground. Aside from that, this commercial looks good. I like the animations they do for the fusions, and the renders themselves look nice too. The showcase of Frankie's recharge chamber with their hair floating up is cool as well. You know, in retrospect, Ghouls Alive is a weird line. I mean, the fact that Rebecca got recalled was hilarious. But besides that, this is a nice little commercial. The whole gimmick of the Ghouls Alive line is the ghouls having battery-powered abilities. Frankie lights up, Claudine howls, and Spectra glows. There's good attention to the posing here too. I like Frankie looking in the mirror and getting jump scared by Claudine, and the looks on both of their faces when Spectra is gossiping to them. Beautiful original ghouls, yeah. Features the return of the Wave 1 ghouls, minus Laguna and Ghoulia, and they got a pretty good commercial for it. The standout quality to me here is the cinematography. This era of commercials had really good lighting and editing, and this is no exception. The camera work and lighting are all on point, and I'll always love the volumetric lighting they do. Chiara Zani is narrating over the marching band version of We Are Monster High, and there are some good lines she has here.
Frankie Stein, stitched together. Claudine Wolf, beware the hair. Cleo Denial, afraid of the dark.
Bangers. We are now in the top 10! Each commercial listed here, despite any critiques I might have, are my favorites that Monster High has to offer. I think we can all agree that Sweet 1600 is an iconic line, and its commercial is good as well. I like how they captured the disco party aesthetic with the multicolored lights moving around, and the shots of everyone stepping on the dance floor are goofy but charming. All the characters are shown off nicely here, although Cupid is strangely absent. Another thing I love about this commercial is the music. It feels so, what would the word be, chic? I don't know if that's the right word. Them calling Draculaura D-Lo is hilarious, but I mess with it heavy. There's also some great lines here.
Frankie gives D-Lo a voltage dress. Claudine gives her the howling best. Claude bought a gift and a necklace too. Draculaura, he's sweet on you.
And we can't forget the cherry on top.
Cool car.
Being one of my favorite Monster High films, I was glad to see that Haunted got a good commercial. The biggest praise I can give to this one is the cinematography. It's gorgeous, and the sets and atmosphere perfectly capture the vibe of the line. Another great part of the commercial is the music, with a remix of We Are Monster High entirely unique to this commercial.
Monster. Dolls each sold separately. Haunted movie coming soon. Not rated. Meet all your ghoul friends at monsterhigh.com. Haunted.
I was never too into Scaris as a movie, but I rock with this commercial. The visuals of Scaris are quite good, the cinematography feels very crisp and well lit, and even though you can tell the city backdrop is just a flat image, it works pretty well. But the best part for me is the posing. I like the poses of Jennifer and especially the little twirl Skelita hits. But where Scaris truly excels is the music. Skelita's part is such a banger.
Señorita Skelita, her fashion's freaky, bonita.
I have no complaints here. Fright's Camera Actions commercial kicked off G1's We Are Monster High era of commercials, and it did so with a bang. While not the best these commercials have to offer, the Fright's Camera Action commercials' visuals are a treat. I love that they showcase the sets of the different locations they visited. The posing is quite good here too. Everyone gets a little time to shine and nothing feels stiff. The second variant of the commercial, Black Carpet Dolls, keeps this up as well, but has better posing for each character in my opinion. My favorite shot is when Elizabeth comes out from the changing stand and strikes a pose. The music in this commercial is great as well. Each ghoul gets a little line or two about themselves, and they're all fun. My favorites are definitely Elizabeth and Honey's lines.
Perfectionist director, no one films better. Elizabeth, stage fright every night.
Just like Sweet 1600, School's Out, or Wave 2, is one of Monster High's most iconic lines, and its commercial is good to boot. One of the key reasons for that is the visuals. They're stunning. The addition of the traditionally animated segments will never not win me over. All of the characters look incredible in the art style and have strong personalities. Abby freezing the camera, Spectre trying to catch some gossip, and Draculaura's flirty teasing of Claude and his howling are all well done. For the doll segments, I think they're pretty good. The posing isn't as strong as it usually would be due to how many characters they have to show off, but I don't really think that's a big problem. Spectre gets the best posing out of everyone, with her shushing the camera and her hand to her ear listening for gossip. I also like the added touch of her fading in. Overall, Wave 2's commercial is fire. We are now in the top 5. These are the best of the best to me. Peak, as they say. It might surprise some people for me to have Wave 3 above Wave 2, but just hear me out. Starting from this commercial onward, the traditional animated segments done by Buttercup Pictures would no longer be featured. There was no official reason given by Mattel as to why this happened, but I can only assume that due to how complex the Monster High designs are, that the animated segments were getting a bit costly and Mattel didn't view it as worth it anymore. Even though I was saddened by the animated segments being gone, I think this commercial still holds up without them. This commercial excels at character posing. Everyone featured here is so full of life and personality. The standout in this regard is definitely Operetta. I love how fiercely she's playing her instrument, and that you can definitely tell how deafening it is based on how the other ghouls react. I also love the silly little dance Cleo and Nephra do at the end. Like the posing, Wave 3's commercial shines with its music. The lines for each of the new ghouls are so fun and stylish. Nephra's line is a bit funny though.
Mean Girl royalty, sisters, pyramid ancestry.
One of my all-time favorite Monster High commercials. Freak Du Chic does pretty much everything right in my book. The visuals are great with fun posing, camera work, and cinematography, and the music slaps. To talk about the variants real quick, there are 3 for this commercial. Of course, there's the regular one, but the second one features the prototype versions of the dolls. You can tell because Guliope's face looks very different. And the third is pretty much the same as the first, but centered on Guliope. And for some reason, there's a part of the music that sounds, for lack of a better word, tense.
She's pretty pink, Guliope, the tallest school at school. Circus posing all new ways. With her height, she will amaze. Guliope.
But either way, I love it. The only knock I have against this commercial is that the flashing light transitions are very much an eyesore. Other than that though, Freak Du Chic is peak. Y'all, I love the Wave 4 commercial. It's got everything I love about Monster High commercials. The music, cinematography, and posing is top tier. They made Rochelle, Rebecca, and Venus look so expressive here. I like how Rochelle's shyness is conveyed, and how Rebecca is running late to class due to her faulty internal clock. Even Jackson, who is off to the side, has a lot of personality. However, I'm not sure they got Venus's vibe across the best. She does the signature G1 hair flip, which I love, but it doesn't communicate as much about her as we got for Rochelle and Rebecca, but that's mainly me nitpicking. Another highlight of Wave 4's commercial is the music. Each of the 3 ghouls gets a line about them, and they were putting pen to paper with them. My personal favorite is Rochelle's.
Rochelle Goyle, a little bit shy but styled to die. Everybody loves the Goyle.
That's so clever, like, how could you not love it? Overall, I love everything about Wave 4, and I'm glad that such a good line got a peak commercial. Our penultimate entry on this list, Dead Tired, is peak. I'm so overusing that word, but I don't care. Of course, the visuals are great. We've got the third and final traditionally animated segment from these commercials, and it's awesome as always. I love how expressive everyone looks, specifically Ghoulia. Just look at her face there. Moving on to the doll scenes. The presentation in them is great. I love how they have the commercial taking place during a thunderstorm, with the blowing trees outside and the occasional lightning flashes. The strong shadows on the characters and the hydration station's blue highlights are present throughout. The dynamic camera work is a treat too. Like the amount of pans and movements throughout, it helps to make every scene feel alive, which is pretty ironic for a commercial called Dead Tired. Also, slightly unrelated, but it wasn't until writing the script that I noticed Claudine isn't here, which I was kinda surprised by. For some reason, I thought that Claudine was part of the first wave of Dead Tired, but turns out she joined in later. The more you know. Dead Tired features another take on the Fright song, and I love it. All of the lyrics flow well, and of course we can't forget about the highlight that is Laguna's hydration station.
Laguna Blue gets moisturization in her new hydration station. A bubbly light up sensation. Rest in peace.
It being topped off with the Rest in Peace and the lightning strike is so good. Dead Tired rightfully earns the number 2 spot. Now, let us get to number 1. Yeah, you all knew it was going to be the Wave 1 commercial, didn't you? But can you blame me? I mean, this commercial does everything right. The visuals feature stellar lighting with well put together sets that capture the edgy aesthetic of early G1. Scary, but camp. But what I love about this commercial most are the animated segments. They perfectly capture the personality of all the ghouls, like Frankie's clumsiness, Claudine's fierce demeanor, and Cleo's regal attitude. The strong lighting on the faces at the beginning stands out to me as well, particularly the Rembrandt shadows on Draculaura and the spooky style bottom-up lighting on Claudine. To talk about alternate versions of the commercial, there's a variant of it that features Ghoulia and Whole Tide. Like Deuce, Holt is pretty irrelevant throughout the commercial, but Ghoulia gets a whole segment to herself that replaces Cleo's. Just like the animated segments, the posing of the dolls does a great job communicating the vibes of each ghoul. The only characters I think they fall short on are Laguna, whose posing doesn't really give off a specific attribute like anyone else, and Deuce, who is largely off to the side. Although, his and Holt's shafting in this commercial is pretty much expected, because let's be honest, Monster High never cared about their boy dolls. Like the visuals, Wave 1 excels in the sound department. It's pretty much the Fright song, but a bit different. It still keeps up the roll call thing, but the lines are slightly modified. For example, Frankie's Got Me Falling Apart is replaced with Frankie's Electrifying Stitching with Style. What, did you expect me to sing it? Another difference between this version and the OG Fright song is how, like the movies, Deuce's verse is completely cut out, which makes sense considering how little he's featured here. I like most of the lines for the ghouls, Cleo's in particular being my favorite.
Clear to now, drip and go bling. Freaky, streaky, bangs, bangs.
The only one I think that falls short is Draculaura's, which is more about Count Fab than her.
Draculaura's vamping Count Fab and more. Laguna's true blue, fishnets galore.
And another great part about the song is that Ghoulia gets a lyric.
Ghoulia, yup, zombie girl with brains. Freaky, streaky.
This is the closest she got to having a part in the Fright song, and I love it. To conclude, Wave 1 excels at everything. It has fantastic editing, animation, posing, cinematography, and gorgeous animated segments. Wait, I said animation twice. For all those reasons, Wave 1 is the peak of Monster High commercials to me.
I hate werewolves, badmouth zombies.
So that's every Monster High commercial ranked. I tried to get as many as I could find at the time of making this video. Of course, if you're watching this in the far off future, this video will probably be outdated, but what can you do? This video was a lot of fun to make. I rewatched every commercial and took notes on them, 30 pages worth if you can believe that. Ranking my favorites was a breeze, but it was in the lower to mid entries that I really struggled. While my top 15 is rock solid, the rest of them is like, I'm not too sure about those placements. I'll probably disagree with it by the time this video's done. If you have any thoughts on the Monster High commercials, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to catch my next upload. I think for my next video, it's about time I got to reviewing the G3 show, starting with season 1, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and stay spooky.
BRB!